If you can't decide cities over suburbs, today we're going to give you the top 10 reasons people are actually choosing the suburbs over the city of Denver. Let's go. Guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tim Campman, your host for Everything Denver, Colorado, where we talk about all things real estate related. So when you're thinking of your move here, hit me up. Call, text, or email the info on the screen, and be sure to give this video a like and a subscribe if you found it useful. So today we're talking about why people are choosing the suburbs over Denver, and we're going to give you the top 10 reasons why. Number one, property size and space. So if you go and you're looking to move into the city of Denver, you're going to find a little bit more congestion. Houses are a little bit closer together, and a lot of the homes in these historic neighborhoods are a lot smaller than the homes that people are becoming more used to when they're out shopping for homes. A lot of those historic homes in those old neighborhoods in Denver are 1,200 or maybe 2,000 square feet, and whereas when they're building these new subdivisions on the outskirts of Denver, homes are a little bit bigger, 3,000 to 4,500 square feet total, and you're not seeing a huge difference in the price. So you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck moving outside the city of Denver versus inside. And another benefit of some of these neighborhoods is larger lot size. Now this is neighborhood dependent. Every neighborhood is a little bit different. Some are advertising themselves as lower maintenance, smaller yard sizes, but as a whole, you're going to get more yard space, and if that is something you're looking for, the suburbs are probably the best option. Number two, the housing affordability and housing options. So as I mentioned, a lot of the homes in the Denver area and those historic neighborhoods are going to have a lot more charm, but they're also going to be with a higher price tag overall. And if you move out into the suburb area, you're going to get a larger home, newer home with less maintenance overall compared to some of those homes that were built near the turn of the century. Now everyone comes in and says, man, I love that historic charm, I love that crown molding, I love some of those old wood features in a home. But when you're spending $15,000 to rewire the house because the wiring was out of date and is no longer up to code, or you're paying $15,000 to replace a clay sewer with something more modern that's going to work and not have the sewage back up into your house, a lot of that charm loses its appeal. So a lot of people are opting for the suburbs, one, for a newer style of home and something that fits their lifestyle a little bit better. And they're also choosing this because they're getting more bang for their buck. Now the average home price in Denver is right around $600,000 for a single family home. And depending on which suburb you choose, you may be able to find a larger home for the same price, or you may be able to save some money and get something at a lower price as well. So that is a reason people are opting for the suburbs. Number three, higher quality of education. Now every school district is a little bit different, but the ones in Denver, depending on where you are, may have lower rankings than some of the suburban competitors. Now this does not mean that every school in Denver has its problems and is subpar to the suburbs, but a lot of people that are building their family and looking for good school options are finding that the schools that are outside of Denver are ranked just a little bit higher. Places like Centennial, Douglas County, the Cherry Creek School District all seem to have a little bit of an edge on the schools in Denver. Now this is not to say that you cannot find a great school within the city of Denver. There are some that are very highly rated, carrying an A or an A+ ranking. You're going to find a more diverse options for schools that are outside of Denver, whether that be charter schools or private schools or other options available to you in the suburbs. Number four, outdoor recreation and outdoor living opportunities. Now a big reason a lot of people move out to the Denver area is because of the good weather and the outdoor recreation and activity options that we have year round. But inner city of Denver is just a little bit harder to get to and to enjoy some of those outdoor activities and amenities. If you're living in the suburbs, you may have just a walk out your front door to one of your local trails, and that opens up to an open space area. You just have a lot more convenience in the accessibility into some of those areas. Now, it does depend on what you're looking for. If you want to be closer to the mountains, something in that Lakewood or Morrison area, or the west side of Denver where Arvada is, could be a better option for you than inside the heart of Denver. It's going to be closer to the mountains, closer to your ski resorts, have better accessibility overall. But if you do live on the east side of Denver, it is going to be further. So depends on which suburb that you pick if you want to have a closer access to some of that outdoor activity. Number five, the proximity to work and the congestion traffic concerns. Living in Denver, it is very congested. There is a lot of traffic, and you can get bottlenecked in some of that downtown corridor, whether you're on I-25 or I-70. If you're commuting into Denver for work, you probably have experienced this, that as Denver has grown and has become more popular, it's a little bit more difficult to get in and out. Now, we don't have the same traffic congestion or as bad of traffic as places maybe like Los Angeles or Chicago or out on the East Coast, where things really get grisly gridlocked. Our traffic generally moves pretty good, but if you can avoid it, why not avoid it? And if you move out to a city like Lakewood, where there's a lot of commerce and job opportunities, or maybe even south into the Centennial area where you're close to the Denver Tech Center, it can make your commute and your transportation options a lot easier as far as getting into work and getting back home. So proximity to job opportunities, since Denver has grown so much, there's so many job opportunities that are outside the city of Denver that it makes sense for a lot of people to move outside. They're closer to work and they have less headaches sitting in all that Denver traffic. Reason number 6 people are choosing the suburbs over Denver is the community feel and more localized events. Now, Denver does have a lot of the major events that happen, whether that be sporting events like the Broncos games on Sunday, or the Avalanche hockey games, basketball games, or if you want to see one of the major shows that's traveling around the country, that's going to be at the Denver Performing Arts Center. But if you're just looking for more of a community feel and more local things to do that are just going to be more of a tight-knit local feel, the suburbs really offer more options, I think, than Denver. Places like Littleton, where they have events on Main Street, whether that's parades or pub crawls or different things that the city puts on just as a more family-friendly environment and atmosphere, those are more available in the suburbs than in the heart of Denver. You also have your localized farmers markets in a lot of these small towns like Centennial or Parker or even Castle Rock, where you just have a little bit more of a community feel versus the big urban areas where a lot of people from outside are coming in, and it just feels like a little less of a community feel in those type of environments versus some of the local ones that are in the suburbs. All right, number 7, and you're gonna have to do a little bit of your own research on this because I can't describe it too much, but as you get further out from the city of Denver, the crime rate's typically lower than in the heart of Denver. Now, this is unique to every single subdivision and suburban city of Denver. Some are gonna have higher crime rates, some are gonna have lower crime rates, but as you get a little bit further out into the more suburban and rural areas, crime rates naturally drop because they're less populated. And that's the reason a lot of people are choosing to live out there. They want to have a feel of a very safe community, and especially if you're moving from some place that's very quiet and serene, and you're moving into the Denver area, seeing a lot of police activity and fire department activity maybe be a little bit unsettling if you're not used to that. Now, Denver is a very safe city compared to so many places around the country, but when you get into those really urban environments and there's homelessness issues, there can be a feel of it being a little less safe than some of the other areas. So make sure that you do your own research on that, and if you need resources and links to places where you can find that information, make sure you hit me up. Call, text, or email, because I get your back on all things Denver real estate. I try to give you guys the best information so you have the entire picture of Denver, the good, the bad, and the ugly before you make your move here. So don't forget to call, text, or email, and we will set you up for success. Number 8, and the reason people are choosing the suburbs over Denver is because there have become a lot more shopping, dining, and cultural opportunities in the suburbs. It used to be that you had to kind of go into Denver for everything, whether that was your shopping or if you wanted a more unique dining experience, and those still exist, of course, in Denver, but now we have those options all across the suburbs. I remember as a kid, grandparents lived in South Denver in kind of the Washington Park area before it became the Washington Park we know today. During the Christmas time, they would take us down to the 16th Street Mall, and we'd take the train, we'd ride the free mall bus that would go up and down the 16th Street Mall, look at all the decorations. It was kind of like a special event for me and my younger siblings. Now, I don't think I'd take my kids down to the 16th Street Mall. One, there's a lot of issues going on down there, but two, you have so many more options that are just as good, if not better, in the suburbs. Everywhere from the Southlands Mall out in Southeast Aurora to, if you want a more unique feel, like Main Street in Parker or the downtown Littleton area. Plus, you have all these outdoor malls that are surrounding Denver as well, whether that be Northfield on the north end, kind of by the Commerce City area, or like I said, the Southlands Mall, that's kind of an outdoor shopping center as well. You have a ton of options in the suburbs, and that's the reason people are deciding to move out there. You have more amenities, more diversity, more things to do in the suburbs, and you're not just tied to Denver. Number 9, and this one goes to the natural scenery and beauty of the suburbs versus Denver. So if you've seen pictures of Denver, you probably thought Denver might have been even, located within the mountains, because every postcard, every picture seems to be taken from the east side of Denver, capturing that skyline with the mountains in the background. Well, Denver is actually to the east of the mountains, where you're probably about a 30 to 45 minute drive before you get into the foothills of the mountains and even further to get to the ski areas. But if you move into the suburbs, you actually have better views of the mountains than a lot of places inside Denver. Depending on where you are, of course, but if you're set further to the east in a town like far east sides of Aurora, you can have a beautiful panoramic view of the entire mountain range. I've seen beautiful mountain views in so many of the towns up to the north, like Erie and Dacono, that are still being developed, and you can get a newer home, cheaper price, and have stunning mountain views. If you're kind of within the city of Denver, there are so many things that can block that view and obstruct it from where your house is. So if you want more of a mountain view, there's going to be more options just the further farther out you move from Denver, whether that be on the south end in a town like Littleton or Morrison, where you're kind of set into the foothills, or if you want more of a very broad range and a panoramic view of the mountains, living in southeast Aurora or a place like Parker could be a great option for you. So number 10 reason people are choosing the suburbs is for job opportunities and employment opportunities. So as Denver has grown, there have become a lot more businesses that have moved in here. A lot of people in the tech space are moving here either for remote opportunities or jobs that are actually in more of a suburban area, and fulfillment centers from Amazon that are more in the suburban areas. So there's a ton of job opportunities outside of the city of Denver, and you don't necessarily have to travel into Denver for work all the time. There are also a lot of opportunities to open your own business. So Colorado's been a very business-friendly state, but I will say that businesses outside the city of Denver have had an easier time, a little bit less regulation in getting up and going versus some of the things inside of Denver. I have a client who I've helped actually with a commercial deal, and they have a business that operates in Denver, and they've been working so hard to get it up and running, but the permitting process, the delays with inspections have just made it very difficult for them to get things moving and to get their business opened up, versus the suburbs in a town like Parker or Castle Rock or even Lakewood or Centennial, where you do have a little bit less regulations. The government is smaller, so you're more likely to be able to talk to somebody directly that is in charge of some of these issues or problems that you're trying to get over to get your business opened up. I know that when they had tried to open their business in Denver, there was a problem with one of the bathrooms that they had installed, and it wasn't a safety or a health concern, but the inspector didn't like how it was laid out, so they had to go in and redo it. And then after they had redone it, it was another 2 to 3 weeks before the inspector could come out. And you don't run into quite as many of those issues in the suburbs. Now, each city and municipality is going to be a little bit different. Some may be easier to work with, some may be more difficult, but I have found that most of the suburbs have a little bit less regulation and red tape for business opportunities than the city of Denver has. So there you have it, guys. Those are the top 10 reasons that people are choosing the suburbs over Denver. What do you think? Did one of these stand out to you as a reason you would choose the suburbs over Denver? Or are all these things just meaningless and minor to you? Would you rather choose the historic charm and living in more urban and fast-paced environment of Denver versus the suburbs? Let me know in the comments, and when you're thinking of a move, make sure you hit me up, call, text, or email. I got your back on all things Denver real estate. Until the next video, guys, I hope you like and subscribe.